Seen you for a while. It doesn't seem
I know. I was worried you guys were missing me. I'll let you go first.
We'll see if we're missing. One second.
Cameron, go ahead and go first.
Good, Cameron, no. I think you're up.
You're called up. You're next.
Oh, okay. Well, then I will go. Hello, Mr. President, board members. As always, I'm Cameron Johnson, Vice Chair of the Bus Riders Unite. As a leader of Bus Riders Unite and past member of a few other committees, I've been involved in lots of plans made in an effort to help our audience, those who have been disadvantaged by the system, to find a voice and find ways to improve their transit system. It's been a hard fight because we've had to work with theaters who throw curveballs at us, like tabling ordinance number 332 to extend transfer times. But the more I think about it, the more I realize how effed up is it that the relationship between the people and their transit agency is a battle of wits? Why is it that instead of making compromises, having talks, and actually being real with each other, you're too busy throwing hurdles and we're too busy clearing them? Even today, you moved the meeting to the very edge of the service area, but we adapted to that. We happened to make the 33-hour Bus Riders Unite mobile rally this morning. It was fun. I've been a leader at Opal for a while, and I've seen you at your best and your worst as an agency. Therefore, I see Trimet putting the transfer times on hold in response to our civil rights complaint is a new low. It's pure retaliation, as you trying to avoid taking responsibility. I know responsibility. I'm 19 years old, and a large chunk of the Bus Riders Unite leadership team are youth like me. How is it us young folk know more about responsibility and accountability than you do? It seems like you're planning around Bus Riders Unite like you need to stop a threat, but we're not your enemy. If you keep trying to push it, we could become a very powerful enemy, but it's insane that despite our attempts to better Trimet, you treat us as a threat that needs to be subdued. We are going above and beyond the realm of logic to the point where we're fighting you tooth and nail in efforts to repair and improve the service. It is ridiculous that our attempts to help make Trimet a better agency is leading to our own punishment at your hands. It's my hope that you're able to come to your senses and realize that as a board member, it is not all about finances, strategy, or even personal pride. As a leader, I realize it's my job to make our team better, not to make your life worse. It's your responsibility as leaders not to carry out personal vengeance, but to serve the system and the people you would not be here without.
Officer for the Powell Garage. I represent 404 frontline employees that service Portland, Clackamas County, Washington County. We have huge issues that we face every day being frontline employees with passengers, motorists. Now we have management who goes and makes press releases that put us, we're the reason, Mr. Warner, we are the reason, we're the frontline employee, we're the reason that there's this huge liability, the rates are going up, the fares are going up. The frontline employee, that's the press. I've had the conversation with Mr. McFarland face to face that it has to stop. You can't make the frontline employee the problem. It doesn't work. We see these people face to face. We take the grandmas and the moms and the aunts and uncles and the little kids to school and to the doctor's appointments and stuff. But now we are being also faced with assaults because we're the reason that their fare went up 5 cents because of our health care benefits. And there's lots of studies that show why we need those benefits, why we use those benefits. I was held at gunpoint. I have a facial tic now because of it. The guy was going to tell me he was going to kill me, and he used a lot of expletives. But I'm back driving the bus. Now I'm faced with financial hardship. I asked Mr. Dave Auxer's group for the IRMCA program to withdraw some funds to keep my home. My own home. My money that I put into the program, I needed to take some of that out to keep my home. It's been almost a month. I still don't know where my money is. I've asked for help. I've talked to Wendy Graham tons of times. Lori Baker will not return a phone call. Not one phone call. I've emailed her a dozen times, and I've begged her on her voice message, call me, my home is on the line. I've been here for 15 years. I've been putting 11% of my paycheck in there. I need a little help myself. I can't get it. I'm going to lose my home. I have begged for help. I don't know how else to put it. I can get on my knees and beg. Can one of you maybe ask them to do their job? I've gone to the IRS. I have met the requirements. There's no reason to withhold this. It's my funds. I've met the federal requirements. It's a third-party administrator that has held up the whole situation. I've asked for help. I'm asking for help.
Hey, maybe McFarland can give you some. He just got a big raise.
Last thing I want to say is we have a driver. We have a mini-run driver. She's at 24.77 hours on an average. You have to qualify for leave. She's lost 3 children. She's had 3 miscarriages. She's finally made it. This is the 4th one. She's going to have this baby in less than 3 weeks. But she won't qualify for leave because she's at 24.77 hours. She needs to work 2 more 10-hour shifts. Her doctor says your blood pressure is over 150. You can't drive anymore. You're off work. But she's calling me saying, what do I do? I'm this close. So we asked Kelly Irwin in her department, can you help her? Her husband's a supervisor. She doesn't have issues in the past. She's a good employee. She wants to have this baby, but she's not going to have the benefits. That's unfortunate, because they need to know that there are real people that have real issues.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. I appreciate it. And maybe we make sure that, Neil, if you could make sure that we at least get the answer so we know what's he knows what's going on and what we are able to do and not able to do. And if we're not responding, let's get back to him as quickly as possible, okay? Thanks.
My name is Halima Abdullahi, and I'm Oakland Bureau Youth Leader. Today I'm here to testify for all youth and those in the room with us today about our concerns about Trimet. Let me tell you my story and why we all need you to get this in your heads. I do not like the way Trimet is working right now. I depend on Trimet daily to go to my doctor's appointment, grocery shopping, etc. One time, my mother and I went grocery shopping, and because we're transit dependent and have a tight budget, we bought 2-hour bus tickets to get to the store. When we got to the store, we didn't have that much time to get all that we needed. We only had 30 minutes to shop for food to feed 9 people, and it felt impossible. So we didn't get all the groceries we needed because we had to rush back before our bus ticket expired. We waited and waited for the bus, but by the time it finally showed up, our ticket expired. We had to pay more money again just to get on the bus. Like I said, I am a youth that is low income, and Trimet is my only transportation to wherever I go. Trimet is also the only transportation for low-income families. What I'm asking is to put yourselves in our shoes and see how different our lives are from yours. See how much people are suffering because of the way Trimet is working now. See what we have to go through every day in our lives. I know some of you ride the bus when it's convenient, but none of you depend on the bus for your daily life. So don't tell me you know what people like me are going through. Another concern specifically affecting you is the lack of service in East Portland and the high cost of youth fares. Since Trimet service is good in the Portland Public School District areas, they get youth pass. Portland Public Schools have youth pass and East Portland schools don't. Do you think that's fair? No, it isn't. But we can't even get youth pass until the bus service is better. I live in East Portland. Every day I take bus 4 to go to 135th Avenue just to get to school. I pay for a single 2-hour ticket every day, and sometimes I don't have any money on me. I have to walk to school. By the time I get there, I don't have that much time to get to my classes. So please, Trimet, listen to our voices. We need youth pass for East Portland. Extra hours are a transfer for people who don't get youth pass and better service in East Portland. Please get better service out there and lower our fares. We need both. You may not, but we all do. So try to listen to all bus rider voices and our youth voices. Have an open mind to see what the system is doing to us. The longer you wait, the more we suffer.
Hi, members of the Trimet Board. My name is Jessica Reyes. I'm here today representing Líderes Verdes in Cooley Neighborhood Organization. I have lived in Portland region almost all my entire life. Over the last years, I have seen the Trimet system get worse and worse. Not only have prices risen year after year, but the quality of the bus service has decreased year after year. And the bus drivers you have hired to transport us are showing more signs of stress and disrespect riders because of this. And while it is nice to hear that some bus services is being slowly restored after years of cuts, Trimet hasn't done anything to make transit more affordable for riders. What good is a bus that works if the prices are too high for us to use? Might as well not have a bus at all if we weren't able to afford the trip. How is it fair to pay for a 2-hour ticket for $2.50 when your fare has expired before arriving at your destination, or you haven't even traveled very far to make a quick stop and your fare has expired before you can get back on the bus? We are forced to pay for another $2.50 fare to finish our trip and get back home for our destination. How does it make sense when you pay $5 for an all-day pass that lasts us 24 hours, but a $2.50 fare lasts us only 2 hours? Did we not all go to school? $2.50 is half of $5. So why isn't the $2.50 fare good for 12 hours? Or if it's the $2.50 for 2 hours that would really matter to Trimet, why are we being forced to buy a full day pass for a whole bunch of travel time that we don't need? Why should we be robbed of both our money and our time by Trimet? For half the amount we pay for a day pass, we should at least get half the time. But we know Trimet will not do this because they want money and don't care what the people can afford to pay for time they aren't using on a day pass. Trimet needs to provide us with more than 2 hours on a single fare, or it should be cut back the prices as an even better solution. The fact is, for me and my family and my friends and many other people I know, the fare is just too high. Can I continue?
Please.
And more time to travel on a single fare is the least Trimet can do. I depend on Trimet to transport myself everywhere. I don't own a car, and this is my first time coming forward to Trimet, asking for you guys to not let me down and prove to me you guys are listening to me. I'm not done.
Never. By all means.
People like me who actually rely on Trimet know better than anyone what our beautiful city needs. Since I was 8 years old, I have used Trimet. My family and friends live all over this area, and I have to spend a lot of time on the bus to just live the kind of life that most people take for granted when they own a car. I live in Oregon City. My family lives in Cooley neighborhood of North Portland. My fiance is in Gresham, and my job is in Northeast Portland. I'm actually late because we were waiting for you guys to let us talk, but it seems that you had some business meetings with the mayor and stuff. Anyways, Trimet is the only way I can get to where I need to be at all times, including my 2-hour trip from work and back anywhere I go. It takes 2 hours for me to go anywhere. Thank you for the bus lines and the max that make my life possible, but now I'm forced to spend money on a monthly pass that is difficult to afford because daily or single tickets are too expensive for how much I have to ride the bus. Can you please hear the people's voices and take action on what we are telling you we need? Why don't you believe us when we tell you we need more transfer time and lower fares? Why don't you trust the people who actually use the system every day and whose lives depend on Trimet services? I know the ridership on Trimet is decreasing, but this isn't a surprise to riders like me. And it's not just because you have cut services year after year and are only now starting to slowly restore services to what it used to be. If you want more bus riders, lower the prices or extend transfers so we can get more for what we are forced to pay. Thank you for listening, but it's time to make a change. Actions mean more than words, and if you can't make a change to the fare or transfer policy, then maybe it's time for riders to demand a change for this board of directors. That'll be all.
Okay. Good morning. I'm Keith Schultz, an Opal member and the elected chair of the Bus Riders Unite Leadership Committee. So I'm here to speak both for myself and for everyone that I represent. But let's start with me. I live in Gresham, and I got on transit at 6 o'clock this morning to eventually ride the 33 bus from downtown Portland to get to this meeting. Did anyone else in this room ride the bus to get here? I was hopeful that we would be here today celebrating the passage of Ordinance Number 332, the transfer time extension proposed by Trimet that didn't give riders what we need or ask for, but is a step in the right direction. BRU and other riders have been trying to explain the need for longer transfers for over 3 years, and you clearly haven't heard us. Because the longer you delay, the more we suffer. I have personally spoken with many transit-dependent bus and MAX riders who feel they need longer transfers. This is especially true on weekends, evenings, and holidays, when transit runs on a less frequent schedule. But you must understand that it's not just about frequency or quality of service, it's about high fares and affordability. In a perfect world, a rider could get their errands done on the current 2-hour fare. But in the real world, it rarely works that way, and it's unjust to force riders to buy a day pass for just a short errand. I've even talked to riders who had to buy a day pass just to pick up a gallon of milk. I know that this isn't your world or experience, but it's ours. Many people who depend on Trimet to live their lives can't wait for all this political delay. We need a transfer extension now. So I have a proposal of my own for you. Just give me a minute. To learn how important longer transfer times are, would you, as the Board of Directors, forego the use of your other transportation options for 1 week? Just 1 week. And then pretend you were poor and try to use 2-hour tickets to do all of your daily trips, not just for your commute to work. I think you would be surprised at what the rest of us deal with every day. And please, don't give me the excuse that you were busy. We are busy too, and our time is just as valuable. And in fact, don't give me any excuse at all. Just do it. For 1 week, with only 2-hour fares, and I think you'll start to understand the change we need. And if not, then it's time to change this board instead. Thank you.
Good. Either one you'd like.
Well, first of all, welcome to Clackamas County.
Thank you.
Clackamas County Board Chair John Ludlow. Just so you know, this is one of my alma maters, Clackamas Community. Glad to say I went here and was part of their proud 1971 National Wrestling Championship team. It's interesting to note, and I know Mayor Neely very well, and Carol, that they know that they are the first city. And as well known, the original plat for the city of San Francisco is on file at Oregon City. And they have since asked for it back, and Oregon City has politely declined. We are the first county. You might remember how big that county was. It is now many, many counties. But the Oregon Territory, of course, ran from British Columbia to down into California, Northern California. It should be noted that Clackamas County, about 380,000 residents, extends from, of course, wonderful Mount Hood and all the way down south of Salem. That's how big this place is. 52% of our land in Clackamas County is owned by the federal government. Lately, that hasn't worked out too well because we used to experience great revenue that would help us do the things we have to do, including transportation needs. You know, we're all looking for efficient, reliable service at the best cost. When I was in Wilsonville, and mayor, and before that, very active in the Chamber of Commerce, you know, there was an idea that people had out there, and that was business people who came forward and said, we can do it better, faster, cheaper. They demonstrated that in the creating of SMART. Actually, at that time, when we named it, and I was mayor, my idea was to name it WART, Wilsonville Area Rapid Transit. And that worked for a while until another mayor came along and said, SMART is at South Metro Regional Transportation. But they've demonstrated that we can do it better, faster, and cheaper. Dial a ride. Almost everything is free out there. And the idea was to really bring home the dollars that were being paid. Now, in Clackamas County, gentlemen, this year, I think, from our businesses, the income per Trimet is around $37 million. It's projected this next year it'll be $39 million. And you look at the lines in the map up above you and you say, can we do it better, faster, and cheaper? Now, I've convened, I'm copying Andy Dyke in Washington County, the chair over there. I thought he had a great idea, and I know Mr. Hughes does it as well, but I convened a private meeting with the mayors of Clackamas County. I call it the chair and mayor's meeting. At that time I said, you know, are you interested in whether somebody can do it better, faster, and cheaper? And 5 cities spoke up and have since confirmed their interest in studying that. I'm here representing the board who said that I requested this permission to tell you that we are going to engage a study to find out if we can do it better, faster, and cheaper. You look at that map, and certainly you talk about Clackamas County, and I realize that Trimet does not cover all of Clackamas County. But you look at places where you don't serve right now, which are needed. We have the Mountain Express. We believe in transportation. We have the Mountain Express, which runs from Sandy to Timberline Lodge, when you're able, We believe in that, and it's necessary. A lot of employees at Timberline now just ride from Sandy up there. It's a lot easier, and they can play with their cell phones while they still have service. But, you know, you think about that area, you think about Colton, you think about the far reaches of Clackamas County. Imolala's on their own now, not part of Trimet. Sandy also, Canby, Wilsonville. So it begs the question, if we helped, if we looked at it, if we had partners that would encourage our look at this, and that's all it is currently. 5 cities who say, you know, we need help because we're not getting the service we need to. It is, you know, the board's position that you have too much emphasis on capital-intensive projects at the expense of your bus service. You just talked, you know, Oregon City has talked about what they're losing, what they need. Beyond all that, yesterday when I was at the Oregon City Business Alliance meeting, and it's always nice not to have to chair a meeting. I'm sure you'll agree with that, Bruce. Sometimes it's just nice to sit back and listen to people and ask some questions. We had very, very appropriate and informed Trimet representatives there. And they said, you know, this enhanced lines that we're going to help with to gather in more people from collectors and arterials and bring them down to where they want to go. You heard about some of the times that it takes to go from here to there, and it certainly isn't getting better as bus services are cut. But I was the one that asked, I always ask, what's this going to cost, and who pays for this new enhancement? Now, I think, again, appropriately, your staff said, we don't know that yet, that's another study. But the point of the matter is if there's only a few ways you can get additional monies. One is fare increases, and I bet those people with the signs have something to say about that. I'm just guessing here, all right? So everybody in favor of fare increases, raise your hand. Well, there you go. So the point of the matter is, you know, we, the public, are very concerned about your debt, your model, your business model. How can it sustain itself? If you just take let's just call it $1 billion, because I know it's more. $1 billion in debt you really are because of deals you made to unions or whatever, and I'm certain not to saying put this debt on the unions' back. But you think about $1 billion in debt, and you say, how are we supposed to pay that off? And I see no plan from anybody. I realize you're appointed by the governor. I would ask him to appoint me to the board, but I don't think he'd do it. Because somebody has to have ownership of that $1 billion. Somebody has to say, we owe it. You think about projects like the Columbia River Crossing. You think about transportation, i.e. the commuter rail from Eugene to Vancouver, and our portion of the cost, if the feds go in on it, our portion of the state is $600 million. That puts it in perspective what $1 billion is. So we challenge you to say how you're going to pay that off. Because I think everybody's waiting for the rescue from the state of Oregon because, I mean, they appoint your board, and they certainly have some rules of operation, I'm sure. But somebody has to take ownership and responsibility for that $1 billion. As for Clackamas County, we don't think we're responsible. Some of our cities have really the lack of good service. There's not the frequency that people really need. You talk about Clackamas Community College. You heard how long it takes. Is that great service, outstanding service within the region? No, it is not. We're worried about debt loads. We're worried about retiree health care obligations. And we're worried about your ability to continue to provide adequate service, just adequate service in the long run. I mean, I appreciate that negotiations are tough with the Amalgamated Transit Union, I believe it is, and and getting concessions from them. But that's small, and that will only put a Band-Aid on one of the 1,000 cuts you have. And so stem the tide of bleeding is one thing, but the original amount, the amount that's continuing to increase, has to be addressed. I can't emphasize that enough. So it makes us all fearful. The Clackamas County Board of Commissioners, certainly the cities, they're going, how is this model sustainable? And it really is not without a huge influx of public funds. So we will study whether all or part of Clackamas County might be served better following our own path, similar to the cities that I've mentioned that have already withdrawn. We realize that there may be legislative barriers to doing this kind of thing, but since I was elected, and the reason I was elected is because I've always believed that certain things people need to vote on. You can call it Selwood Bridge, you can call it urban renewal, you can call it light rail, and more recently the other CRC, our Clackamas Regional Center urban renewal, where there's $48 million to be disposed of, and I believe that's the public's money, the taxpayers' money. In the same sense here, I believe that if we had a vote in Clackamas County as to the efficiency of Trimet and their service and their operations, it wouldn't go well for you. There's a new survey out, and Hibbets et al., funded by public entities about public trust. The public doesn't trust public entities, government, institutions. They don't trust them. I think the approval rate was like 17 or 18%. So we all have a battle in the eyes of the public to rise up to the level that they expect out of us. And one is financial sustainability, and two is the service you provide. Every year, when we survey the people of Clackamas, every 2 years, Clackamas County, they say public safety is number one. Public safety is a lot of things, the DA, corrections, the court systems, et cetera. But number two is roads. That's how important roads are, is that people still drive on them, you see. And even though the emphasis and the push has been for so long to get people out of those selfish, single-occupied vehicles and get into mass transit, well, it hasn't worked too well. I still like the idea that people would have the right to decide what they do and not to allow our freeways to continue to clog. So getting back to, again, the central point here, we appreciate the work that you do with the constraints that you have. We would hope that some of the input here put today by Oregon City, just one of our cities, would help you, guide you towards decision-making where you can better serve the people who really pay. We know it's the businesses, and people solicit those businesses, but we need better and more outstanding service in Clackamas County, and we're going to look for a way to provide that fiduciarily to our customers, clients, patrons, taxpayers, stakeholders, if you will. Do you have any questions for me after that?
Questions, comments from the board? Thank you very much for your comments.
Thank you very much for your time.
I will say before you leave,
Yes.
we welcome independent review. We're always looking at ways to provide service better, so please have at it. We look forward to the analysis and working
Should I have
together.
John Charles set his outline on how you could pay back $1 billion?
Well, first off, Mr. Chair, I need to take you to task a bit. I think you need to look very carefully at our debt load. This board is very, very concerned about debt load. We have policies that say our debt shall not exceed 7.5% of our operating budget. I think we're actually at about 5% now. 3.8% of our budget right now is for debt. And so we believe we planned that very carefully. We have the resources to pay for it.
My name is Lynn Barrett. You've met me before, and I'm a resident of Rockwood and a member of Bus Riders Unite. I'm here today to address this board's complete lack of concern for your customers, especially the bus riders. You sit here and make decisions that affect everyone in the metro area, the employers, the employees, people who don't drive, and even tourists. This insistence that Trimet is providing even adequate service for all of these different types of riders is cruel. Why? Because you clearly don't know. Have you ever tried to take the bus in East Portland? Or tried to make a round trip on a single ticket? Accidentally got on the bus going the wrong way in a new neighborhood. Boy, that sucks. But none of you are regular riders, and you don't know what it's like out there. I'm not able to go from my home to my post office to pick up a package and get back on a single fare. That's a simple chore. I live at 162nd. I have to go down to 122nd and Sandy to pick up my mail. That's crazy. I can't do it in 2 hours. I don't feel like you treat me, my time, or my fare with the same respect as you would as if it was your kid or your family members. You act like my time is nothing, but it is just as valuable as yours. Members of this board represent districts, districts full of people. We are not a map. We are actual people. Take a look behind me. Do you really represent all these people? No longer will we take your word in good faith because you have a huge geographic metro area to move people around in, but you act like it's a game of checkers. When we see you out on the system that you govern, then we will return good faith to you. I invite you to ride with me any day. Have a great day.
My name is Nicole Phillips, and I'm a member of BRU and a transit-dependent resident of Portland. I'm also a staunch proponent of and advocate for mass transit. In the almost 6 years I've been in Portland, I've covered a large swath of the city via Trimet. Probably more than most, I've experienced the highs and lows of Trimet's efforts to keep Portland moving. Recently, I've become dismayed as Trimet has implemented extensive changes in pricing and service that leave none of us, transit riders, employers, or the businesses we frequent, unaffected. Taken separately, a change in service or a fare increase is a sometimes necessary part of operating public transit. Do these things all at once, though, and it begins to feel like an attack. It now takes my coworkers and I longer to get to work and longer to get home. The lack of north-south bus service turns a quick errand into an hours-long journey. Missed connections, drop-off-only buses, standing-room-only vehicles. These are all now a daily part of riding public transit. Adding insult to injury, we now pay more for an overall lower quality of service. However, I'm not here to recap the decisions Trimet has made or reiterate why BRU and its allies actively oppose these decisions. But I am concerned about whether Trimet is aware of a standard maxim in marketing and customer service. People always remember how you make them feel. Running for a connecting bus because yours was late, only to watch the bus pull away because the operator couldn't wait the 10 seconds it would take for you to get there, leaves people feeling that our reasons for using transit are irrelevant. Aggressive fare enforcement focused solely on issuing $175 citations to as many people as possible versus issuing up warnings as appropriate and educating riders about Trimet regulations in order to weed out actual fare jumpers leaves us feeling like criminals. Knowing that West riders pay the same $250 as Trimet riders for more comfortable, punctual vehicles with Wi-Fi, no less. While the Trimet board tables the vote on extending transfer times, leaves transit-dependent cash riders feeling victimized by an elitist system. Feelings may seem irrelevant, but like any service accessed by the public, feelings affect whether or not we continue to use the service. Trimet's changes can irrefutably be interpreted as hostile to its riders. And no matter how often Trimet may advertise new improvements or blame the union for its budget woes, refusing to address the core issues of transit-dependent people, hostile fare enforcement, poor service in East Portland, and complete denial of the cost impact of reducing transfer times, leads us to conclude that Trimet doesn't care about us, that we're paying for something not designed to serve us. We all need for Trimet to work in partnership with its riders, not against them or only for the benefit of a few. Because as people feel disregarded, disrespected, or flat out ignored, they will eventually feel that their only alternative is not to use public transit at all. We are all stakeholders in Trimet's success, and we all feel the pain when Trimet fails. Thank you.
R.A. Ponce Lake Oswego. And before the general comment, I want to point out that, that West needs some combination of a six-fold increase in ridership or an $8.50 surcharge in order to bring it to just a mediocre level of subsidy. Now, the new budget requests 2 new DMUs to provide a service level roughly equivalent to what it was supposed to be 5 years ago when it opened, about $2,500 a day. This is proof positive that there's not a chance in the world that West can ever climb out of its hole. It needs to be shut down. We need that money elsewhere. Now, autonomous vehicles or AVs are coming, and the clock is ticking. 2 things. First, shared AVs, robo-taxis, self-driving rentals, etc., could provide most local travel at a total cost of between 15 and 41 cents a mile, according to a Columbia University report. Without subsidies, That's without subsidies. Shared AVs would offer faster, safer, more convenient, and usually cheaper rides than transit. Fewer than 6,500 shared AVs, just 0.5% of the current Tri-County passenger car fleet, could potentially provide every single ride now taken on Trimet. What will happen to payroll taxes after Trimet ridership plummets? Second, eliminating human drivers will turn Trimet's model on its head. Cost per boarding ride will be cheaper on buses than light rail because of the latter's high fixed cost for right-of-way, signaling, and station maintenance. And that's not even considering capital costs. Tick, tick, tick. Just yesterday, CNET reported that when asked if AVs would emerge within 6 years, Dan Ammon, the number 2 at GM, said, "I'd be quite surprised if it didn't happen by then." Volvo, Renault, Nissan promised to have AVs for sale also by 2020, and other car makers are doing everything they can to avoid being left behind. The consulting firm IHS predicts by 2035 there'll be 54 million AVs on the world's roads, and remember, only a very, very few of these could dramatically impact Trimet. Even after shared AVs transform personal mobility, we'll still need Trimet to alleviate congestion and to provide service to those who need a person's help getting into and out of a lift vehicle. Nobody knows how soon they are coming, but before they do, Trimet needs to fully fund all retirement obligations, get completely out of debt, develop a new business model where AVs and transit complement each other, and build up a large cash reserve adequate to quickly convert Trimet's reduced fleet to autonomous operations. Thank you. Tick, tick, tick.
And I'm here as a board member to the Community Alliance of Tenants, a statewide tenant-run organization, the only tenant-run organization, as well as co-founder to We Are Rockwood, a Rockwood resident determined and run group. And as a Rockwood resident, and I've mentioned this once before, about how difficult it is for our residents to get anywhere north and south in our community. East of 122nd, there is no north and south in my neighborhood. 162nd, we have a new Ross at Division and 162nd. I can't get there. It's over a mile walk from Southeast Stark to Division. My health care providers are the Rockwood Multnomah County Public Health Clinic, located 182nd, just north of Division. I have to walk again another mile to go to one doctor's appointment. Now, I'm an able-bodied individual, but then I think about my neighbors. Rockwood has about 37% of the city of Gresham's population. That's tremendous. We have the highest rate of poverty throughout Multnomah County, which is the highest density of any county here in Oregon. As Trimet board members, one, I'm going to look behind me again and see these are your constituents. These are the individuals in which you serve us. And when I look around and I see other individuals, including yourselves, and I'm going to say this as a constituent, I hope you start taking Trimet and have an understanding of what we go through. I would invite you all to come on a walking tour in Rockwood, a walking and transit tour in my neighborhood. Any Sunday, 3 o'clock, We Are Rockwood meets our neighbors at the Rockwood Library on bus route number 20. And you can walk from 172nd off the Max. So I invite you anytime. Please come and we'll give you a walking tour on a Sunday and how difficult it is for transit.